Alright guys, in this next tutorial I'm going to quickly show you guys how to add easing to your animations. We're just going to animate this square and give it a little rotation and scale. So we'll go into our square options and we'll twirl it down. We'll go into our transform inside the square and we'll hit a stopwatch. Make sure you're at the beginning of your comp, and we'll go hit a stopwatch on the scale and also the rotation. And we'll go about a second in. Up here you can see the amount of seconds, and we will add we'll bring the scale up to a noticeable amount. Mine's 190, and rotation, let's just do 45. And you'll see that this animation is pretty boring right now. There's not really much to it. It just moves. So we're going to add easing to this animation using our curve editor and our velocity window. So first we have to do these independently by scale and rotation. So first we'll select our scale keyframes. You can do that by drag and selecting in your timeline. We're going to right click either of these, and we're going to keyframe velocity. Once we're inside this window, you'll see that there is no easing at all on this animation, so you'll see your influence is set to basically 0. Making sure that our dimensions are locked, we're going to click on the influence on the X dimension, and we'll go 88. 88 is a number I like to use. It's not fully eased, but it's not too abrupt. So, and then also we're going to do the same thing on our outgoing velocity. Set it to 88. And now you'll see that our rotation is eased, but it still is looking fairly wonky because our scale doesn't move with it as well. So we're going to have to select our scale keyframes. Do the same thing. We're going to right click it and go to keyframe velocity. And again, our influence is set to 0, so we will go in here and set it to 88 on both ends. And now you'll notice that our square has a lot more life to it, easing in and out. You can also do this to the position. So if we wanted to move our position, you can go back to the beginning, set a keyframe on the position, go over to a second, and move it over. And then you'll have to go back into so you'll see right away that there's nothing to the animation. But if you right click these keyframes and go into the keyframe velocity and set the influence back to 88, you'll have a way smoother animation and it'll look a lot nicer. So what's really going on here is inside of the graph editor, we'll open this up. So the graph editor is right here next to the timeline. And inside the graph editor, you'll see all of our different values here. You might not see this graph, you might see something like this. If you see this graph, the value graph, just right click anywhere in here and go to edit speed graph. The speed is what we're ultimately trying to edit here. So, so you'll see that what happens is it starts with 0 velocity and it goes up and it goes back down to smooth it out. A linear animation would quite literally just be a line across the screen. I'll even show you that really quickly. So you'll see that our position is just a line across the screen. But when we add easing to that animation, I'll add it back to our position, set it back to 88. Then you'll see that it smooths it out.